That's the athletic fantasy cheat sheet. Everybody's like, what the hell is going on? There's no Nando. It's not the Nando and Jakey show. Although Chris Meany, friend of the show, you've actually been on the show before.
Yeah, back again. I must have did okay last time. So happy to be here. Missing Nando. What's Nando up to? He's got some well-earned days off.
Yeah, what are you taking a vacation in the middle of the football season?
It's probably the right time to do it, though. Let's be honest. We're at the halfway point of the regular season in terms of fantasy football playoffs, or the regular season of fantasy football. So it's probably the best time to just take some time out.
It's the home stretch. Well, I mean, it's a good day for it. I don't blame me. I voted for Kodos. You don't have to deal with that up in Canada, but I took the Kodos vote today. No, I did vote, but I'm just telling. Hey, I voted for Kodos. That you can't blame me for anything. You can get mad about whatever you want. Hey, you could get mad if you're a Cowboys fan, right, Chris? So I think we have to talk about that first. Normally we do waivers and all that type of stuff, and it's kind of essentially what we'll hit on first. But Andy Dalton hits COVID. So we just saw the Ben DiNucci experiment. It could be Ben DiNucci. There was talk about Garrett Gilbert, but you were telling me before we came on the show that Ian Rappaport saying they might call up Cooper Rush from this practice squad. Does it even matter, Chris?
I don't think so. I mean, they're going up against the Steelers. The line opened up at 9.5. I bet that pretty quickly yesterday, and now I'm not seeing it at all. I would imagine when it comes back, it's going to be like 2 touchdowns. We're talking about a Steelers team that's undefeated, just beat Baltimore, and now like Dallas got crushed by Washington a couple weeks ago. Really, they weren't in the game against the Eagles. And Philly didn't even play that well. Like Carson Wentz turned the ball over 4 times. So I don't think it matters at all. This is brutal for everybody inside this offense. And man, did you notice like their play calling against the Eagles? It reminded me of like high school play calling, like plays that even the broadcast brought it up, like plays that they had never heard of. There were so many just gadget plays, and there could have easily been 7 interceptions from Ben DiNucci. He got extremely lucky.
Well, so here's the real question. How far down are you moving Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup? I guess it was a 2-part question. First part of the question is, who would you start if you only started one? Is it still Cooper or is it Gallup at this point? So that's the first question.
I think it's Cooper, just because Darius Slay was on Cooper in that game, and Slay a couple times he's just had the better of Cooper, and I think that's why Gallup got all those targets. But I guess if it was Ben DiNucci, maybe I would lean Gallup, but I don't want to start any of these guys, Jake. Honestly, against the Steelers, how are they going to score?
So that's the second part of it. So are we going now? Granted, the Patriots just traded for Isaiah Ford for whatever that means, but yeah, this is why I'm bringing this up. Is because Jacoby Myers stepped in for Julian Edelman and is filling that role, but Isaiah Ford, that would kind of be his role too. But we'd assume at least one game. Are we going? I think that's where we're going. Are we going as far as Jacoby Myers over any of the Cowboys wide receivers?
I think so. Why not? Right? It's against the Jets. He just had 10 targets. It was sloppy weather. That game was brutal to watch, really. I know it's Cam Newton and he struggled, but there's just not a lot of guys there. And I was taking a look, and it's obviously a very small sample size, but over the last 4 weeks, he leads his team by far in terms of targets, air yards, ADOT. It's all there for him.
It was just 4 weeks ago that all 3 Cowboys wide receivers inside the top 25, and now we're starting freaking. I'm not saying you're wrong. I actually agree with you. It's just I can't believe that's how far we've come, how quickly we've come.
Well, who's the one that you would start? Is it Cooper? I mean, Amari Cooper?
I would one more time, but if it was one more game like that, I might go for Michael Gallup. Why not just go for the guy that's getting the most air yards? If you're only going to get 4 targets each.
It's a good point. Yeah. Why don't you're dead on, actually. Why don't you just shoot for upside? And he's been that big boomer bust player for the Cowboys all year. He's right there in terms of routes ran compared to anybody in the NFL, not just on
routes.
Yeah, runs routes. He runs them nice and strong, and most of the time he doesn't come down with the ball. But you're right. The ADOT is there. You know that they're going to be playing from behind. And at the same time, what's Zeke going to be able to do on the ground against the Steelers?
I asked the questions.
Fair enough. Nothing.
I'll get to that. That's where I was going to go next. Real quick to get one of the questions in here. By the way, no regrets, MJ. Yes, you dropped Kittle now. 8 weeks. That's the fantasy season's over. So yes, you dropped Kittle. Justin Jackson and Chase Edmonds for Justin Jefferson and Robert Woods. Is that fair? I mean, I think the answer is it's fair, and this is all relative. But which side would you rather have, Chris? Because it sounds like Chase Edmonds might not have the job for two. It sounds like Kenyon Drake might be back in a week already, a week or two at the most.
Yeah, that's a big bummer. I think I would just take the wideouts there, and you're right. It's all about context, but I think I would just take the wide receivers. Too bad because Edmonds, if Drake is out for a few weeks, Edmonds will low end RB1 worst case.
What are you doing with Edmonds this week? Are you considering him on RB1, or are you worried about the Alexander Madison, Dalvin Cook effect, where they're just not as good as they replay? Like, you know what? That's not maybe the best comparison. You know what's a better comparison, Chris? Is this maybe the Lamar Miller effect? Is we want more touches, and maybe Edmonds is less efficient with more touches and just puts up the same stat line?
Yeah, it's certainly possible, but I'm going to rank him as a RB1 for sure. No running back has ran more routes in the slot. I don't know if that's going to continue where he's just the guy now on the field, like he can get some carries, but the offense is it's just dynamic. It's unbelievable. It seems like they score 30 points every game. And even with just he played just over 50% of the snaps the last time Arizona played, and he still ended up with 20 plus fantasy points. Like that was his first game really just getting more than half of the snaps. So I love Edmonds. I think he's better than Drake personally.
By the way, Josh Silber, I was laughing because he said Kang or Kodos in a half-point PPR. So did you watch The Simpsons? Do you know what he's talking about? Do you know what the shirt's talking about?
No.
Oh, I hate you so much, Chris. I hate you so much. Thank you, Josh. You can host a show with me next time instead of Chris. How about I'll get Grady Meyer before we go back to Zeke. So with prepping for the playoffs, where are you on Thielen's schedule? Along with his already high touchdown rate, is the ASL high? Chris, you know how I feel about the schedule. I think people overreact to it way too much. I do strength of opponent with quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. Even at the same time, I'm not that scared of anybody. Like the funny thing is people are bringing up the same schedule for Dalvin Cook. They're like, should I trade Dalvin Cook right now before the rough schedule? Like, where do you draw the line between it matters, it doesn't matter?
I think there's really honestly running backs. Like obviously there are a few elite cornerbacks in the league, but I just play my studs, and I just think Adam Thielen is a stud. I just feel like even week one, like Jair Alexander was on him week one, and he came out on top. He was okay in that matchup. So I'm Thielen. I'm taking a look at it now. Tampa Bay week 14, Chicago 15. Sure, like those are tough spots, but before that, Carolina, Dallas, Detroit.
And then the championship week, the Saints, which haven't been good. Marshawn Lattimore is not even playing that well this year.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I mean, there's a ton of top corners. Gilmore's another one where we used to just fear. And I think I was taking a look at Pro Football Focus earlier today, and he's outside the top 40 quarterbacks in terms of just, graded corners. And yeah, I would just play Thielen. When you downgrade him to what? A wide receiver 1 to a 2? Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So here, we'll get a few more questions. We got a couple of them spilling in here. So Lamar Jackson. Drew, real quick, Olivia. Kudos to Olivia, who's hosting this in the back end for us with no Nando on vacation. We appreciate her stepping up for us. Real quick on that, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen for the rest of the season, Chris?
I'm going to go with Lamar. I think Allen has Pittsburgh week 14. You don't want to start Josh Allen against the Steelers week 14. I don't.
I'll double check. We talk about schedule. I already started working on playoff schedules because everybody's asking right now. Buffalo has, as you mentioned, so weeks 13, San Francisco heading in, Pittsburgh, Denver, New England. Denver's the softest one there for quarterback, so it's not the greatest schedule to finish things out. So would you not even buy low on Josh Allen right now because everybody's panicking from the past couple of games, despite the fact it was mainly weather? And then the game before that, he still threw for 300 yards and had the Gabriel Davis touchdown called back.
Yeah, he just every time I was watching that game against the Jets, I felt like Buffalo was inside the red zone, but they couldn't score any points, and they didn't even punt once, and they couldn't score a touchdown. Like that doesn't happen too often. I wrote him up as a sell high a couple weeks ago because
Allen?
of some matchups that were coming. Yeah, Josh Allen, but now you could probably get him on the cheap. Like I said, I just don't want to start him week 14. If you feel like you're going to make the playoffs and you have a week 14 matchup, then why bother? And looking at Lamar Jackson, he's got the Steelers again week 12, but week 13 Dallas, week 14 Cleveland, week 15 Jacksonville, and then the Giants if they get to
finish things out.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty golden. And he's running again. I was a little nervous
big thing
ago when he.
So let's get to the next one. By the way, a reminder: if you guys aren't part of the Athletic, if you go to theathletic.com cheat sheet, $1 to sign up, and also. Oh, I pointed the right way. Jock Market, top corner above Chris. Check them out. Always sponsor all their shows. Love Jock Market. This is perfect right into the next. Yeah, there you go, Chris. Look at that. Like a pro. The very next question, Kevin S. Goddard or Mark Andrews. This is your team, and this is
Uh,
what we were just talking about the Ravens going forward. Goddard or Andrews rest of the season. Is this how far Andrews has fallen? Because I love Andrews as a buy low right now. I'm not not even kind of into it. I love the fact that people are off on Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I like it too. I would go Andrews for sure. I mean, Ertz is going to come back eventually. Rager's back now in that offense. Fulgham's getting a ton of work. I would just go with Andrews and just take the upside. It is too bad just he's not getting that workload, but I've heard you say this so many times, and it's so true. If he can just find a touchdown, even 2 catches for 40 and a touchdown, you're finishing as a top 3 tight end, especially with George Kittle now done for the season. It's just Kelsey really who's elite there. And Waller was a bit of a dud last week too. So
is Goddard in your top 10 rest of the season?
He is, yeah. He is my top 10. I like the schedule. I wouldn't take too much stock into, last week he was on a bit of a pitch count, and I've seen people just drop him already because the Eagles are on a bye. I think that's just overreaction.
Okay. So speaking of overreaction, this is going to be crazy to ask the question, and then I got another running back question to follow this from somebody in the comments. Is Zeke benchable?
Oh, man.
I can't imagine you have the running back depth, but let's say, Chris, let me put it this way. Is he a top 20 running back this week?
Oh, that's crazy. I haven't done my rankings, but he's definitely not a top 15. There's no way he can be.
Who do you like more, David Montgomery or Ezekiel Elliott?
They're basically the same, right? I mean, they're both just running into walls, and at least Montgomery is catching a few passes along the way.
I was going to say they're both doing nothing with a lot, but actually Montgomery's. So to date, the 2 top running backs and routes run. You got me screwed up from before now. Are Zeke and Montgomery. So they are essentially the same. So here's the next one. Thursday night, we got to talk about the Packers backfield. Speaking of that one, no Jones, no Jamal Williams because he was too close to A.J. Dillon. So now Dexter Williams is coming off the practice squad. Tyler Ervin is the pass catcher, but Tyler Ervin has been banged up. But this is a game where maybe they pass, or maybe they don't even care about the running backs in this game. Let's say Jones is out because it sounds like he's about 95% out. And the Packers have been we'll sit anybody if they're in a question, like Devontae Adams earlier. Yeah. So where do you put Dexter Williams and Tyler Ervin for this week only?
I think I like Dexter more. I don't know if that's your fault because I know a couple of years ago I think you had him as like a deeper sleeper, like a deep sleeper. And
I don't like him as much because he didn't follow me, or not follow me. He didn't even respond to me on Twitter after I talked to him at the combine.
Oh, come on. Probably it's like he's a busy guy, right? He probably just didn't know. He didn't clue in. He didn't put both.
He had like 3,000 followers at the time.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a ton of followers. My deep sleeper from the show that we did before the season started showed up last week at DJ Dallas, and it could be a similar situation, right? Good offense, score some points. DJ Dallas didn't really do a whole lot on the ground. 18 carries, like 40 some odd yards, but he got a couple.
He made Montgomery look efficient.
Yeah, and he missed a couple blocking assignments. Man, he almost got Russell Wilson killed.
Again?
Yeah, and Wilson had no problem. Next play, I think he threw it to him. So a couple touchdowns. That's really what you're looking for, a running back inside, a decent offense, pretty good matchup. Niners got a ton of holes. I guess I would lean Dexter over Irvin, but are we really going there over Zeke? I guess.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
I mean, that's pushing it.
That is push. I feel like this is worse than Alexander Madison trying to replace Cook. This is just very desperation, but that's where some people are. Real quick, we don't even have to spend a lot of time. So, Olivia, Ernest Diggs is about the one I'm getting to. I still take Terry McLaurin, but are you going to put the Olivia? You're going to get this one because I want us to put this on the board. But look who he's with. Look where we've come. Finally, Travis Fulgham is getting the respect deserved. Finally, I would still take McLaurin though.
Yeah, same. I got a couple numbers. I know you said don't want to spend too much time, but since he debuted week 4, first in yards, he's 6th in targets. He's tied for 4th in touchdowns. He's 2nd in red zone targets. He's 1st in end zone targets. He's 1st in air yards. He's 2nd in 40-yard grabs. And he has the 2nd most fantasy points behind Dalvin Cook, who had the monster game last week. So Fulgham he looks
represent Monarchs.
Yeah.
Travis Fulgham, the man. I told you guys. I told you 100%. Everybody called me crazy when I said he was going to be better than Claypool. Everybody said I was off my rocker. I am victory lapping the hell out of that.
Yeah.
I'll get to we're doing a lot of questions because there's so many. We'll do 2 or 3 more. Or actually maybe just 2 more. We're already pushed up against the time. I don't want to keep Olivia too long. She's doing this so nicely for us. And again on Thursday, for everybody that comes back on Thursday, more lineup questions on Thursday. How about, here's a good one from BL34. Swift, Dobbins, and Jacobs. Can I bench Zeke for either Swift or Dobbins?
I think you definitely can.
For both?
Yeah, and especially if there's no Mark Ingram, right?
I would do it for Dobbins. The question I had was for Swift, just because I don't trust Patricia.
Yeah,
I think I would still go Zeke.
Yeah, he's tough to trust. Carry on all of a sudden had the red zone target for a touchdown. I was shaking my head, but no Golladay, so maybe that means a few more targets potentially for Swift. It's possible. But yeah, we just got that little bit of a taste last week with Mark Ingram gone and the upside Dobbins brings. It's nice.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's do one more question. Again, reminded, like you can go to my waiver rankings, my rankings tonight at midnight. I answer all the comments and I get no sleep because of it, but also give Chris Meany a follow at Chris Meany. He'll engage you on Twitter. He's a nicer, as you can see, smiling right now, nicer guy than I am.
I have like basically the same amount of followers as Dexter Williams.
But you're so much nicer. You're so much nicer. And I said, like theathletic.com fancy cheat sheet, $1 to sign up so you can get your questions answered and Jack Market again, like Chris pointed out. So last one, actually 2 more. I'm going to put the one on when we get out of here, Olivia, but the last one before that from NDI Diana. Would you trade Eckler for Justin Jefferson in a PPR, have Kamara, Sanders, and Darrell Henderson? I just want to touch on this because of Eckler. I think if you can get any value at this point, the fact that the team said later than sooner he'll be back makes me wonder if you're even going to get him for the fantasy playoffs at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a really good deal. 100%. You're right. Not just getting anything back, you're getting a potential wide receiver too, right? With that kind of upside.
Yeah. Agree. Chris, anything before? So the last comment, just leave it on the board, Olivia, from Grady Meyer. I'm going to put that one up there. Yes, that's actually a good idea. Maybe I do have to rank superheroes at some point. I rank everything else. I'll throw DC in there as well. Chris, anything before you get out of here? You want to tell everybody? Go follow your goodness, FTN?
Sure, yeah, at Chris Meany, FTN. Lots of free tools over at FTN, FTNbets.com, daily.com, fantasy.com. Yeah, lots of stuff going on. Check out Mean Streets. New episode coming on pretty soon. But I'm surprised you haven't done this. Ranked Marvel.
I'm surprised in myself. Legitimately surprised. I'm dropping the ball. I'm too busy with food. Too busy food and buying Funkos.
Food,
and answering all the comments.
I noticed that you had the mask last week, though. You got the DuckTales mask.
Yeah, it's still over here. Launchpad. Nice. That thing was hot as heck. But we appreciate you guys. We'll be back Thursday, 3:00 Thursday. We're going to answer some lineup questions, get some more readiness for you guys in week 9. Thanks to Olivia. Thanks to Chris. Thanks to everybody watching. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. I'll do the Nando. Goodbye.